Hey guys, welcome to the Rumble and Roar podcast. Today's topic is Roe versus Wade. We realize this is a mixed topic. While speaking our opinion, we are not trying to upset or maliciously hurt anyone who does not feel the same way as we do. We have a guest speaker here today, and her name is Sabrina Perry, who I've had the pleasure of knowing 10 plus years. And when I tell you she's such a nice, supportive, warm, caring person. She is a business owner. She is a wife, a mother of 4, 2 boys and 2 girls, and they are some clever children. Sabrina is here to share her knowledge with the Roe versus Wade case. As they say, history repeats itself. Here we go backwards. In 1973, the Supreme Court established the legal right to access abortion nationwide with its landmark decision in Roe versus Wade case. Last month in June, the Supreme Court of the United States have overturned the Roe versus Wade abortion ruling that sent the shockwaves to millions of people in this country. The decision no longer secured constitutional protection for abortion by allowing each state to restrict or ban access to the procedure. So, what do you think about that, Sabrina? I'm going to tell you my opinion on abortion. I just want to hear a little bit about Roe and Wade, and I'm so glad that you did a little research because I honestly didn't do a lot of research or didn't know a whole bunch about Wade and Roe. But I do know that abortion was legal at the time, and now it's not. And here we go. Like I said, again, it's always, history repeats itself. But this is not it's just my opinion. I think it's good and it's bad. But I want to hear what you have to say, and then I'll tell you why.
Okay. Well, for me, ever since I've been born, Roe versus Wade has existed. So I've never really thought about it, thought to research it. It's just always just been a part of something that was accessible to not only me, but all women in the United States. So when this ruling came down, I just noticed there was a lot of emotion around it.
Oh, yeah.
So it prompted me to do, some research.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I've learned ever since, I say 2015.
You've always
to
been
research.
Like
I guess it's been there, but I've really ramped up. So whatever hits the media, I'm going to go and look. What is the opposing debate?
Mm-hmm.
I hear everyone else, but what's the opposing debate? What's the history on this? Let me get a better understanding for myself so that I can make the right decision based on, my assumptions, my assertions. So I did some research and I wanted to find out who was the woman behind Roe, and her name was Norma McCorvey. So Norma McCorvey has a very checkered past. There was a reason why she was chosen, albeit from her lawyers. Her lawyers chose her because of her whiteness and because her lower social stance in society. So they kind of pulled her from an abortion. She was about to have an abortion. And they wanted to they needed someone to use in order to sue. Because they had another option. They had a white couple who was married and they wanted an abortion, but it wasn't good enough in order to bring a case to the Supreme Court. So they needed something that was a little bit more edgy. So they advised her to lie, or she lied. It just depends on how you read her autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
And she stated that a gang of black men raped her. And that was the baby. And oddly enough, the woman who was born, her daughter who was born, she was later adopted. She's not biracial at all, but she lied and said she was raped by a gang of black men.
So she kept the baby?
She ended up giving the baby up for adoption in Texas, yes.
Okay.
So, and she later turned her life around. She gave her life to God, and she became an anti-abortionist activist. So she was comfortable with admitting all of the things that she did prior to in order to get Roe passed. So I knew nothing about. Did you know anything about her?
No, I didn't. And did she do time after she came and admitted it?
No, ma'am.
Now where do they do that at? We've been under. Okay.
So when she basically said that a gang of black men raped her, because in Texas at the time it was illegal to get an abortion. They didn't fall for it because she didn't have enough evidence to do so. However, it created enough fever and, excitement behind it. Because at that time, there were anti-abortionists, especially in the black community, the pro-black, like the Black Panthers, ministers, like there was a big pushback because of something that happened with Margaret Sanger. There was negativity already going on with that. So that was a lot of pushback. Also a lot of pushback because they were back then, a little bit before 1973, the angle was population control. So when you use that word population control, people get a little, they standoffish because it seems kind of, evil, so even, countries outside the US and the UK, they didn't really like that wording much, they said that's kind of inhumane. How about we try other efforts in order to help people who are, poor, disenfranchised, we can provide services, we'd be able to provide education, let's try a different angle. So instead of doing that, the pro-abortionists went another angle. They just called it women's health care.
Right.
And that made it more comfortable for us to accept. And it's like, okay, that's women. Just like with Planned Parenthood, you're not planning parenthood, you're like eliminating. So it's about wording, it's about marketing. So with that, and like I said, when we go back, there were a lot of anti-abortionists who were black. And because there were a lot of like racism attached to it when it came down to it. But once they changed it to women's health, we began to adopt it more. So by the time I was born, it was there, everyone was, was fine. So I never really had, I was never really like a pro-life person. I was just like, oh, okay. It was just a way of life, so.
Right.
So that's pretty much, a summary. We can get more into it.
Right. Oh my gosh, that is really good. And you've always been the type that anything that comes up when you're like, okay, well, I understand a little bit, but I need a little bit more, you go into it and you dissect it like you always do. And I thank you for this.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone to do that.
Yeah. My son is somebody that does that, and my daughter. It's like, so why, if you tell them something and they ask you why, if the why does not, if they don't understand or it doesn't sound right, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And behind your back, they be like, and now they're grown. They're like, it doesn't say it here. That don't even make sense. I'm like, okay.
You know what? I love that about Generation Z.
Oh.
Generation Z, they're very special. I mean, we
talk
talk trash about them, but we talk trash about them, but they are very aware, bold, and willing to ask questions. Like, they'll ask you questions, you're like, let me get back to you on that.
Right.
It's common sense questions.
They make you think.
Yes,
They make you think, and they make you go back to, to get that answer, and they're going to get the right answer from the beginning. It's not like us back in the day. It's like, well, I don't know. You just listen. I'm telling you, and then we accept it because, No, it's not like that now. But how do you feel about an abortion? How do you feel about women having abortion? I feel, this is just how I feel, and it might be wrong or it might not sound right, and I'm just gonna say how I feel. I do understand if someone was raped, if incest, if you got a report from your doctor and you carried that child, not the first semester, the second semester, and they found some things going on and they said, hey, your baby, there is almost a 100% chance that it will be born stillborn. You should be able to have an abortion, and you should be able to, not have no flack over it or anything. First of all, let me just back up. The first thing is, I don't feel that anyone should have say-so over anybody's body. A woman, man, anyone. Well, I do if they are children because they can't make decisions. But a grown woman, don't tell her what to do with her body. I don't think that that's right or it's fair, especially in America when we have freedom of speech and freedom of everything really. So I feel that okay, yes, I support that part. However, I don't. I feel that, and it's not right, and when there are some people out here, Sabrina, girl, and I promise you, I know people who they're using abortion for birth control. They don't have 3 to 6 abortions, which is insane to me. It's like you and they're not. See, those people there, which is they still have the right like everyone else, but they're the ones that you need to say, hey, wait a minute. No, you can't have another abortion because there is nothing wrong. And look, this is 2022. There is no reason that you can accidentally get pregnant with all these contraceptions out here. You know, there's too many things to where you don't have to be pregnant. If you did get pregnant, it was, I don't know if it was a mistake. And please, y'all don't throw eggs at me. I just feel that it's either a lot of them out there now, and this is just my opinion, it doesn't make it right, people. I think a lot of women now, they try to get with a guy and, you know, get pregnant by him, and then and they see that, oh, wait a minute, they're 4 or 5 months pregnant, and that guy is like, look, I told you I don't want any kids, you're doing this alone because I told you in the beginning, you did it anyway, so deuces, I'm out of here. And they're like, okay, he's serious, he's not going to be with you, you know? And so they're like, okay, let me run down to the abortion clinic and get an abortion because he's serious, so he doesn't want to be there. But I just believe that the ones that really need to, if you're going to tell somebody they can't do something, which is not good because if it's for one, it's for all. You can't just choose people. But if it is, you need to get the ones that are actually using it as a birth control pill. As a birth control, not pill, but a birth control period.
Right.
So that's how I feel about it. But yeah.
And some people also say, you know, men aren't being treated that way. You know, we're not forcing them to control their.
Yeah, we don't say go get a vasectomy. You done had too many kids.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
This is a wonderful conversation because we've had 40 years to pretty much examine the effects and that pretty much came down from Roe versus Wade, right? So what we've noticed is promiscuity has pretty much amped up, where it is being used as a birth control.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that kind of irritate me with a lot of people who are not keeping it 100.
Right.
Whenever I discuss this online with other women, they always bring up rape. They always bring up incest, which is actually only 1% of abortion.
Well, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm pretty sure it's low. It's low. It's not. I'm sure it's not way up there, like the ones that are just going in there freely doing it.
Right. So I don't think they're being, we're not having a real honest conversation about this. And as far as incest and rape, 75% of Americans agree that there should be options for terminating the pregnancy, you know, for the mother. There are those who are extreme, and I kind of get their arguments too, only because, you know, you'll have someone who would step up and say, well, I am a result of a rape. Should I be dead? And what do you say to that person? You reach a moral part. You're like, and you know that's where I hit that wall. So I really try to stay clear of that. That's a very difficult. But I do know that the majority of Americans still want to see some type of care for women, especially if their life is in, in danger. If the child passes away, don't want the woman to carry the child. Like those type of special circumstances I believe need to be carved out.
Right. But I think those are, right? Those are,
but I think Texas, Missouri, some of these states are like being extra.
But you know what's about to happen? If they pass the law and say, okay, this is what it is, I don't understand. Do you think that this is going to stop somebody from getting an abortion?
No.
All they're going to do is go somewhere else and get it. They're going to go somewhere legal or somewhere else, underground somewhere and get it. Just like when in Georgia, remember back when we could not buy liquor on Sundays? And it's like, I'm just trying to understand this. Are y'all, stop girl, I'm I'm trying to understand this. So we can't buy liquor on Sunday, and that's trying to do what? What is that doing? It's
Ramp
just
up the sales for
Saturday. That's all it's gonna do. I'm gonna just get mine before midnight Saturday and be done with it. The same with abortions. I mean, you're telling people they can't. It's not legal here in Georgia. They're just gonna go to where it is legal. And if it's not legal anywhere in the United States, they're gonna apply somewhere to get it done, because if they want it done and need it done, it's going to be done.
And I think that was the happy medium that they were trying to meet, where they're saying, okay, a lot of liberal states will not, trample on the rights of women. There's still going to be open borders for you to be able to get an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like that's still not enough, because right now they're protesting, like as we speak,
I know.
in New York, where you can freely get an abortion.
Okay.
All right, so I think this will constantly be a debate. One of the things that I really try to focus on is that we need to, especially with my Generation Zs, I have so much hope in them, because
That's so good.
the
The reason I say that is I'm about to get
I know.
something, because it's just, I'm glad you do have hope in them, because sometimes I'm thinking, Lord, there is no hope now. These the way they think, it's like they have no respect for others. They have no respect for themselves. They feel entitled. They just it's all about them. They won't work. Okay, bring it back, Nora. Bring it back. I'm back. Because girl, I'm glad. So keep speaking and
let me speak some positivity.
Positive. Yes.
Generation Z. Generation Z seem to be a little bit more responsible with their sex. And the reason I say that, I'm going off statistics.
Really?
Yes.
They're responsible with their sex?
Statistically.
Girl, then why do I think that they're doing it because it's a trend? Something wrong with me? Okay. Because to me, a lot of them are having babies because their friend have a baby. It's like, are you crazy? Oh, do you know what it entails? Do you know the hard work? Okay. Go ahead.
Now,
Sorry.
If they're grown, we can't say nothing.
No, we can't say anything.
We can't say nothing. But those who are like,
you're so sweet.
like I remember when I was growing up, in my school, we actually had a young mothers program. That's how bad.
Yes.
That's how bad
it was
teen
like
pregnancy was.
It was like that.
We could go in there and go play with the babies and stuff. We could take the classes and childcare, but these were actually students dropping their kids off, and so they can go to class. It was really bad.
Yeah.
That is almost like a distant past, because teenage pregnancies have dropped significantly in all states.
That's good.
And also abortions have dropped significantly. So at first, when I read, I was like, oh, the reason why they don't have a lot of teen pregnancies is because they get abortions. But no, abortions have dropped significantly in their age group as well. So they're doing something. Maybe it's abstinence. Maybe more identifying, as LGBTQ. Some are just like maybe asexual, or they're just refraining. Either way, something is going on with Generation Z where this really isn't like something that they're into. Like when I look at the people who's speaking about it, protesting about it, it's people our age who can't even have kids no more. Like they're out there, protesting about abortion because that was the thing that was very important to us. But I don't see a lot of Generation Zs out there doing. I mean, you see here. I'm not saying they're not out there, but they don't outnumber our age group.
Okay.
Who are protesting. So I just thought that was a very interesting when I observed it.
Well, that's good, because that's not what I'm observing. And I'm sitting here, I just don't want them to think, oh, you're just thinking negative about Gen Zs and millennials, and no, it's just the way they think. So, and I needed that positive pouring into me to make me try to think.
We gotta give them something,
They're smart. They are smart.
Very smart.
Now that I have to admit, they are so smart, and they're
effortlessly smart.
Yes.
It's just they can figure things out without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
And I do admire that about them. I remember something my grandma used to say though. She used to say, the generations get wiser
and wiser. Yes.
Weaker.
And weaker. Now, my mom and my grandmother, they used to say they get wiser and wiser. I didn't know they got weaker.
They say that was a saying. They get wiser but weaker.
And that's so true.
the way I look at it right now,
Mhm.
they're seriously wise and they're weak. But they think they're strong. But they think it. They think I can do all of this. They got all that mouth. They be all in your face. And see, we don't win out. Let me stop. We bringing it back. We are bringing it back.
Yeah, I mean they're born in the age of technology. Just to piggyback,
yes.
you know. So with everything's pretty much at their fingertips. They don't have to work as hard as we did. So
No.
I try to give them
Everything was
benefit.
given. That's why they feel entitled.
Mhm.
It's like, but
That's not their fault though.
It's
They'll
not.
figure it out. I have hope in Generation Z. I really do.
I have hope too. I do. I know it sounds that I don't, but I do. I do. It's just so hard because it's like I know you're. See me when I know that you're smart and I know that you know better, but then you talk different and you're acting different. It makes me feel like why? Why are you doing this? So I'm like But yeah, you're right. I better hang in there.
Yeah.
Look, I have no other choice.
Yeah. The only thing we really have to do is just, guide them. Continue to guide them.
Mhm.
Because they're missing those like old school principles that's
Mhm.
still tried and true today. So alright, the last one is in reference to rape, right?
Rape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This one is very sensitive and it has to be managed by, I believe, people in power who are very smart. Because, for instance, you have a son, I have a son. What if he and this woman, they have consensual sex, she wants an abortion, and it's illegal to have an abortion, but what if she go in there and say your son raped her?
Okay, bring that to me one more time. Because you did say it one more time.
So think of it as boy's mom, okay?
As a mother.
Okay. Your son has consensual sex with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
In the climate we're in.
Wait a minute. Does color have anything to do with it?
No.
Gotcha. Keep
No.
going.
Consensual sex with any woman, right?
Any woman.
In this climate that we're in, with abortion being illegal
Mm-hmm.
in majority of states, unless they give the exception of rape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she wants to have an abortion, and the only way she got an abortion.
They say
is
that your
claim-
son raped them.
Yes.
And what is your question that you're asking me?
Like, how do we?
Stop that from happening because
Yes.
that's what's gonna happen.
But there are people who are actually raped.
Oh, wait a minute, because that's
how
what.
can we find the
Understand
line?
that that's about to happen a lot because that's going to be the excuse that people can use to get that abortion because isn't it said that rape or incest or stuff like that is okay within the first trimester, I think.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's what's about to start happening a lot because if they really want to get it and they're desperate enough, they're going to cry rape. But that's going to be
Not saying all women. We're not saying all
No,
women.
not
There
at
are certain women in our, in the world
Not
who
at all.
are straight up liars.
Yes, and desperate women.
Yeah.
They will do these things. Of course not. It's not everybody. This might not even be the majority, but there's going to be some hard up ones that they've done it before.
Yes.
And it's not going to stop. But with something like now that it's being banned, it's going to be even more so, especially if that's the only excuse you can use to get it. You
Right.
understand? But back to you said because I got
Some lawmakers want to just take that out,
Right.
to avoid that.
But-
But I'm like, dang, that's going to interfere with those who really are raped.
But back
That's a
to
very fine line.
But back to when you said what if it's your son? Girl, she's gonna have a
She's
fight
gonna-
on her hands
Baby.
because it's not gonna be just my son trying to prove, and I'm gonna be after her. Everybody I know is gonna be on our side. We gonna get to the bottom of it, and you better have your lies, your I's, and your T's together because I'm not gonna quit.
I know that's
because
right.
I know, but they will do it. I'm not.
That's how we put our boys, honey.
I
We don't play with our boys.
my son because it takes it to another dimension, honey. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
But you asked all the good questions. Let me see. Girl, they were very good.
They were thought provoking. When they were presented to me, I really had to think about them.
And you know I'm gonna have to go just like you. I do my research after if I don't have a good answer for it and I want to know.
Yeah.
When you ask do the men have rights, I gotta go and read that and see. Did you ever look at? I'm surprised you didn't.
I did.
Okay,
Men
okay.
don't have many reproductive rights when it comes to
They don't have many, but do they have any?
it's some things that are happening where men can get custody of the kids and all
Of course,
that, but that's
yeah.
afterwards. In reference to the pregnancy, I don't think so. No.
No rights at all.
No. Women have most rights. Like, it's, you know, the men who don't have rights are at the very top are white men. They don't have zero. They're not under any type of civil rights. They don't have any special rights. Then you got black men. They don't have any either.
Why did you choose the white man first, though? Why do you feel? Why did you say that?
Because people always talk about the white man.
I know.
They always bring him up. So I had to
But
throw him in there
but
too.
they usually are the ones that actually do have the right, so they don't have it either.
They don't have any reproductive rights either.
Now you're gonna have me going into look that up. That's
Because
good.
everyone else pretty much falls under special circumstances, you know. We check all the boxes. Black, you know,
Hispanic, other.
yeah, black woman, what's the other? If you're gay, you got another one,
Yeah.
you know. So a lot of people get hit a lot of boxes for protection. But men really don't have that. They don't. And we birth them. And that's the crazy part. We birth men.
Well, guys, this has definitely have been a really informative podcast for me, and I hope that it was for you as well. And I want to thank my guest Sabrina for coming. I enjoyed her, and hopefully, if you have any questions about what we talked about today, you can put it on our website. The information will be at the end of this podcast. And once again, I want to thank you, Sabrina, so much.
You're welcome.
And
have fun.
yes. And as always, feel the rumble and listen to the roar.